As a woman who's been married for nearly 20 years, there's some specific things I always do because I don't want to draw the attention of other men, right? I make sure I dress modestly. I always have a noticeable wedding ring on. I don't talk poorly about my husband, especially to other men or with other men around. But I think there's a step further that us ladies need to remember, that there is some flirting that does need to be happening, especially as a married Christian woman. There's some exclusive flirting that needs to be going down. And this is what I always try to do for my hubby, and I think yours might like it too. I understand that the routine of marriage happens. It can get a little boring. Sometimes life is busy, you get the kids, you got stuff going on, and sometimes you don't quite feel that spark like you used to. But I think things like being intentional here with this topic of exclusive flirting is really a great way to maybe get that spark of joy back in your marriage. And so when I was thinking about this, because my husband and I are imperfect human beings, we have our areas of struggles as well. And I know for me, these are areas that I try to be intentional about because I want to have that spark, right? I want to pour into my marriage. I want to see it be strengthened and to grow and to just be wonderful, because I think marriage is fantastic. And especially in a world that doesn't always view it in that way, let's stand out. Let's be different. Let's pour into marriages that we love and grow these partnerships. It wasn't always easy for us. I'll leave you some resources and some other videos down below of real honest talk. Like, we've struggled, I get it, but these things make a big difference. It's gonna help him and it's gonna help you. Now, I know some of you are going, sure, these things might be fantastic if you have a perfect marriage, maybe your husband's just the best in the whole wide world and you have no issues. Well, I don't know about y'all, but my husband is not perfect, but neither am I. And these things still matter. These things still count, and they really do help. And so I think it's really, really, really important to remember why you married him, because there was a reason why. And I get 20 years nearly of marriage. I get sometimes seasons of life happen, and you're really gonna have to remember the why, because marriage is difficult. But I promise you, even in the difficult seasons, even when your husband is being a bit of a turd, remembering why you married him, starting to implement these things, to show by your conduct that love and that willingness to rekindle the flame is really important and absolutely well worth it. So just a little reminder here, when you go into this, remember why you're with him in the first place. It might help. One thing that I absolutely think that us ladies need to remember is get dolled up for your husband. I know that maybe dating is a long time ago. For us, it's been over 20 years, right? Since we were in that fun dating phase. But I still like to get dressed up for my husband. Even if we're going out and, getting a bite to eat or something, maybe I get dressed up a little fancier. Maybe we're going nowhere and I'm going to be home all day long. I still get up and get dressed. I put on a little makeup. I put myself together. I do the things that I know my husband likes. I want to give him my best. I want to do that. I want to remember those little butterflies and feelings of, he's coming over and I can't wait to see him. And I want to give him that. And I think that even in the just relaxed phase of marriage, and it's not that you have to be like a Stepford wife 24/7 or anything like that, but part of that exclusive flirting with your husband is getting a little dolled up, giving him your best and letting him enjoy that. And guess what? You're going to enjoy it too. Now make sure that you are not neglecting your intimacy. It is so important, right? Remember, we have one relationship in this whole wide world in which this intimate piece is connected. And I think it's so important for us as women, especially Christian women. Yes, modesty, being reserved, all of these things are very, very important in the gentle spirit that the Lord desires of us, and leading with that just peace and grace in all areas. Yes, absolutely. Amen. The space that you can be deeper, right? You can be a little more revealing, right? That sensual side of life is meant for this relationship. And so I think sometimes it's important to remember that, to not neglect our intimacy, even in the struggles, even in the hard times. If you have to schedule it out and put it on your calendar, schedule it out and put it on your calendar. Do what you need to do. But when we remember that our husbands, they get one, they get us. And we need to give them that, just as they are to give themselves to us. It is so important to remember that, well, yes, well, I'm out and about. I want to be dressed modestly. I don't want other men looking at me. Like, I hate that. I mean, creepos on the internet that we constantly are banning from our channel, right? Like, I don't want any of that attention. My husbands, I do. That's where I pull out maybe a pretty little nightgown. That's where I, bring in these extra little pieces and these extra little things that, yes, like, I want him to enjoy me. I want to be the prettiest woman in the world to him. I want him to look forward to me. And that can't happen if I'm constantly pushing him away and denying this very special level of our relationship. And I get seasons of life are hard. I get there's insecurities. I absolutely understand all of that. I'm right there with you in many of them. Don't mind the dash hound. But I think to remember how important this key piece is in our marriage is something that we really do need to realize, be aware of, and move forward in giving him our best when it comes to that. I will be absolutely honest and upfront with you guys. This one's an area that I personally struggle in, but show some PDA. Hold hands, right? Give him some public displays of affection, some physical displays of affection. Go up and show him how much you still love him. Flirt with him, right? Be there and show that even physically, right? In your day-to-day. I think it's so important, as I know that is something that can be so easy to just, you're busy, you got stuff going on, right? Maybe that's an area you struggle with. Maybe it's not the first thing on your mind, but trying to be intentional and still do that. When you're walking, hold his hand, right? When you're in the car, I love putting my hand over on my husband's leg or holding his hand while we're going, sitting at the table, whatever it might be. Even in church, sitting next to each other, and he'll put his arm around me or something while we're sitting there and listening. I think that is so beautiful to remember that a little PDA is a good thing to have, even for us old married folks. To still bring that into our day is a wonderful thing to remind each other that that part is important to us as well. Quick PSA, because I'm serious when I say that I want to be intentional in flirting with my husband and building up our marriage and building up our friendship and just making this be something that lasts our lifetimes. But I really feel uncomfortable when I go out and about, right, and get unwanted attention. And so something that really always stuck with me was to make sure that when I go out, I have a noticeable wedding ring on, right? In everything that I do, I'm going to talk kindly of my husband. I'm going to lift him up. I'm going to reference him. I'm going to be dressed modestly. I'm not going to be trying to put stuff out there that shouldn't be out there. And I want you to see married. See this? Married. I'm not looking for someone's affection. I'm set there. And so I was so thankful. I've shared it with you guys before, but I found Julia Jewelry here online. They have beautiful pieces, beautiful. I had broken my wedding ring, unfortunately, because we did a barn project and I didn't take my ring off and I totally goofed it all up. And I was in need of a wedding ring because I was like, I am not going out about to the store without a wedding ring on. It was really, really stressful. So happy I found them. I was able to get a new ring, crazy good prices, beautiful, beautiful pieces. I will be honest and say that I actually like switching out my rings a little bit. I don't know. I like the ability to switch it up. I love the just fun of it. And at prices like this, I'm able to get a couple different pieces and kind of switch them out depending on, just the season or what I'm feeling. And I find it super exciting. So you don't have to be like me and want to switch them out all of the time. These are some rings I've gotten here lately, though. I have 3 that I've been switching between, and I think they're just so beautiful. I love the quality. They're holding up so well. And of course, great prices over at Julia. I will leave you guys a link down below. If you are looking, they have other pieces of jewelry too. It's not just wedding rings. But if you guys are looking and you need something, if this could be a blessing to to you, you know I want to make sure that you guys are getting a great deal too. So I will leave that linked down below, but I am loving the pieces I've been able to get, and I love knowing when I'm out and about and I'm doing stuff, everybody who I run into knows that up front I am very boldly married and focused on one man. Thank you very much. So a little something I love having, and of course I wanted to be sure to share it with you all. Now, this is one thing that my husband and I vowed to always be intentional with, and I'm telling you, there are some days I don't want to do this, but we vowed to do this because I think it's important, and that's to always kiss him hello and goodbye. When you see him first thing in the morning, when he first gets home, give him a kiss, right? Before any of you ever leave and you're gonna go to bed or leave the house or whatever it might be that you're doing, always give a little kiss, hello and goodbye, to show him just how special he is to you. Even if he's driving you crazy, you still love him and you want him to feel loved as well. Now, get as crafty with this next one as you'd like, but little flirty notes or text messages that you can send to one another. Maybe it's a spicy verse out of Song of Psalms. Maybe it's a reminder of something you're looking forward to, or even a memory of something special. But thinking of those little messages that we can send throughout the day. Maybe it's a note you can leave in the car or something in his briefcase or whatever it might be that he has, but leaving little notes, right? Dropping those little things off. My husband and I were in junior high and high school when we first started dating, and the stacks of notes we used to write to each other, huge, right? All the time. And so it's really fun. My husband will do it for me too. Sometimes I'll go into my office and sitting on my desk will be a little note, or I'll open up my planner and there's just a little I love you written in one of the boxes. I think little things like that are really, really sweet, and there's so many fun ways that we can kind of weave those in to his day. So this one might not stand out like, you know, dressing pretty and leaving him cute little notes and things like that, but we as women desire love, and our husbands as men desire respect. And I think a great way to flirt with your husband is to ask him for his direction and then to follow his lead. I think oftentimes, I'm totally guilty of this, us ladies kind of just charge in, right? This is what we're doing, this is what we think it should be, this is how we think things should run, and we kind of just move forward. Even in our society, right? The thought of, oh, hold on, let me check with my husband, or let me ask him what he thinks, is not something you hear very commonly. But I think a great way to be very intentional with some exclusive flirting is to ask your husband his direction, his thoughts, his preference, and then for us to follow that lead. I think that's really, really important and really builds up a lot of areas for him and you, but especially in your marriage. So friends, in a world where marriage is really looked down upon, the husband is always the butt of the jokes, and you know, we don't want to put them first. Who are we kidding? Let's not be those ladies. Let's be ladies that are proud to be married women who love our husbands, who want to pour into our marriages and to truly give our husbands our best, because they are to be the number one human relationship we have in this life. I think marriage is so important, so special, something to really just set that example for the younger generations of what an amazing thing it is to be in a marriage, especially one that honors the Lord and serves Him through our testimonies. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm gonna leave you a little something. If you're struggling a little bit in marriage and you could use a little encouragement, a little bit of a testimony from some other imperfect people who have really struggled in marriage, I'll leave that here for you guys as well. Of course, if you're looking for a little pretty bling, I've got Julia's link down there. Otherwise, I will see you all right back here in the next video. Bye, friends.